We finished Maundy Thursday in mournful worship, but for Jesus, the evening of Maundy Thursday never ends. We're picking up the story with Jesus and his disciples. They were lingering in the Garden of Gethsemane. The darkness had come and the disciples were getting tired, but Jesus had gone away for a time to pray independently. He struggled over the events that were to follow, praying to his Father to remove the cup that he was about to drink. His internal struggle was so intense that it physically manifested as his sweat mixed with blood. And these moments with the Lord are not to be interpreted as weakness. We should instead see a determined Savior, clearly overcoming fear and submitting to the sovereign will of God. But as he struggled, his disciples slept. Twice, Jesus returned to find them sleeping. Jesus knew that his hour had come, and that each time he woke them, he requested that they would stay alert and watch, for the Son of Man was about to be betrayed. The betrayal came at the hands of Judas, who led a mob into the garden and kissed Jesus on the cheek, turning him over to this mob to be taken to the chief priests and the scribes. You see, Judas's betrayal provided the exact information and opportunity that the chief priests needed to seize Jesus, to control the narrative as they put him on trial, seeking to condemn him to death. And this all happened in the early mornings of the day we call Good Friday. After Jesus is seized, the temple council is called, and at their secret meeting, Jesus is spit upon, hit, and ridiculed for his claim to be the Messiah or the Son of God. There were witnesses provided to claim that Jesus was guilty of blasphemy, but the witnesses could not agree. So they treated him shamefully, hoping to catch him slipping, and then they finally asked him directly. The council ends then in an uproar, calling blasphemy over the statement that Jesus makes about himself as the Messiah. He stopped short of a plain statement, yet it was quite clear to the council that Jesus is claiming to be God. They had all heard what they needed, and quickly they passed him on to Pilate, under his charge, to be led to be on trial for insurrection and leading the people to disobey Caesar. Pilate does not deem him guilty and deserving of death, so he sends him to Herod, who also found the same. So Pilate planned to beat him and release him. But Jesus' enemies were not satisfied with this. They would not stop until he was dead. Now, it was customary for Pilate to release a prisoner in Jerusalem for the Passover. This was a customary decision on his part to keep the peace between the Roman government and the Jewish people. Yet, the chief priests went among the crowd and agitated the gathering to call for Jesus' crucifixion. Jesus, now condemned by both the religious and the political leaders, was led away to be stripped naked, whipped to the brink of death, and made to carry his own cross, the instrument of his own death, to a hill outside of the city called Golgotha. There, on that hill, Jesus was hung on the cross, having his hands and his feet nailed in place. He would be left there to die. And after a few hours, he did. Just after mid-morning on Good Friday, the Savior of the world gave up his spirit. And this is the day that we call Good Friday. But why? Why do we call it good? We call it good not because of his death, but because of the results of his death. As Jesus died, two memorable events occurred in Jerusalem. First, there was an earthquake. The ground shook and the rocks split. Graves were opened and the dead were raised. It seemed that creation was unhappy with the death of her maker. And at this quake, one centurion was taught the lesson. Truly, this was the Son of God. The second event happened in the temple. The temple had a curtain that barred the way to the Holy of Holies, and even then, only one person was allowed beyond the curtain, and that was only once a year. This curtain was torn in two. It was torn from top to bottom, indicating now that through Jesus, as a result of his death, access to God had been opened for all. And so though we may be sad as we read the story of Jesus being laid in the grave, we can be confident that God's plan did not fail. So let us together then trust God's sovereign hand over Jesus' substitutionary death as we continue to behold the scenes of Easter.